Gentlemen, what feelings can a man experience when his wife cheated on him? Probably not the best, but you will feel even worse when you find out that your best friend is involved in this betrayal. And so, gentlemen, the story is about one adultery. On a sunny Sunday, I arrived in my wife's car for a couple of new lawn chairs. Fulfilling this assignment, I decided to turn on the program This American Life on the NPR channel and immerse myself in the fascinating stories they offered as I was driving. A book mentioned on the radio caught my attention, forcing me to write down its title. Holding on to the steering wheel with one hand, I rummaged in the center console with the other hand, feeling for the handle under the CD cases. A number of random objects emerged from the depths: a crumpled honey wrapper, a folded Starbucks drink package, a quarter, even a folding comb. But among this assortment, my fingers came across something unmistakably recognizable, a distinct package of contraceptives. I was startled by ID thoughts. Unlike images, tend to be messy and confusing. Maybe you were worried about the guilt caused by the fact that you accidentally revealed a potentially dark secret, or maybe you were overcome by fear. Maybe you doubted that you did something wrong. I thoroughly searched every corner of the car, starting with the glove compartment and ending with the trunk. I even opened all the doors and examined the seats. Finally, my efforts paid off when I found a small package under the passenger seat. Clev CE of this contraceptive, as an indisputable witness, seemed to confirm the worst-case scenario. I had to admit the harsh truth. It turned out that my wife had a constant affair that lasted 4 months. This caused me to lose all hope that this was just an isolated incident. The evidence showed that she really cheated on me, and not just like that, but with serious intentions. I had an uneasy feeling she kept a secretive and evasive list. This revelation hit me like a brick deep down. I knew that I was on Hift, the blame on me, saying that my absence and suspicions of infidelity pushed her to revenge. The possible scenario seemed endless, and I wasn't sure what she could really say. In the midst of this crisis, a startling discovery was revealed to me. He found out about my infertility, and in search of pregnancy slept with my own brother. Just this thought sent goosebumps down my spine, emphasizing the depth of secrets and deception that were embedded in our relationship. Am I infertile? Why not reveal? Eve the old holiday. And unlike modern establishments, this hotel allows guests to park their cars next to the rooms, bypassing the entrance to the hotel through the lobby. In moments of despair, you have to act outside the box. I must admit that I don't know how to cheat. Instinct compels me to tell the whole truth, and this tendency as a rule benefits me in my work. The whole truth, and this tendency as a rule benefits me in my work. Sharing information creates a sense of connection, allowing others to genuine, which would ensure transparency of my actions. Realizing that if I leave, I will be able to monitor the territory outside the hotel, and he will be powerless to prevent any unpredictable actions. Such a scenario could lead to legal consequences for the hotel, so it became obvious that in order to reduce the risk, it was necessary to keep me on the hotel grounds. I find great satisfaction in reaching agreements that satisfy both sides. As a gesture of goodwill, I treated us to lunch at Subway, choosing for her reflection, and confidently walked towards the man waiting for her. As she passed him, he gently wrapped his arm around her waist, pulling her to him. The hotel door closed behind them, sealing their private moment. I have never used the term cuckold, neither in ordinary conversation, nor when it came to a man who was cheated on by his wife. The concept of this word had not occurred to me before. Its origin is connected with the behavior of the cuckoo bird, which lays its eggs in the nests of other birds. His betrayal does not matter much. It's just another disrespectful person. But if this person is your father or brother, a close blood relative, then his betrayal may be even more painful than the betrayal of your wife. After all, the wife is not related by blood, and although I may feel angry enough to engage in a physical fight with my brother, in the end I will most likely prefer to give preference to blood ties and distance myself from a woman. That wife can be replaced, but watching her affair with like to join us for dinner tonight. Oh, do you think we should go somewhere? I asked Tom's wife. I don't mind. How about we meet at Ciro's at 7? I asked. Great. Bye. After that call, I felt like a winner. Just like after I crushed 4 pieces of iron, I called home and left a message saying that I would arrive early and arranged to meet at Caros at 7. I didn't forget to leave the same message on her mobile phone to make sure she gets it. When I got home at 6, I noticed that Sherry was already in the NTY. Clouded my thoughts. When I met Tom Peg, everything was as usual. Tom and Sherry seemed unaffected by the situation and showed no signs of strangeness. The sincere friendship that we shared as a quartet remained intact. My beloved wife, my closest friend, and my friend's wife, our bond was unshakable. Sherry's hand laid gently on my leg. Her every look was filled with a sense of intimacy. Her demeanor radiated satisfaction. Tom was enthusiastically devouring pasta, and Sherry and Peg were chatting. Enjoy st reflection. Witty jokes and witty answers seemed to have remained only in fictional fairy tales. Tom shook his head slowly, a gesture full of disappointment. Sherry looked down at her plate, and her silence spoke volumes. Meanwhile, Peg seemed stunned. Her eyes widened in surprise. At that moment, I was determined to convey my message to her. I couldn't help but notice, I said firmly, squeezing Sherry's hand tighter, that you're avoiding us, Tom. It made Me wonder if I should resort to violence or take a diff eternal question of who is better to be a Formula One racer or a movie star. There were curses in the air. You bastard. The sound of Peg's hands hit him again, startling him in the midst of this horror. I was still holding Sherry's hand. Her grip had frozen. Suddenly Peg jumped out from behind the table, grabbed her purse quickly, turned on her heel, and hurriedly left. Surprisingly, I remained calm. Could you pay the bill? I asked Tom calmly. You can. Take the leftovers, I said to Tom, getting up and turning to rabbing buttons, trying to tear the seams. Anger grew and I went to the kitchen, returning with a chef's knife with passion. I cut her clothes forcefully, running a knife through the fabric, cutting and tearing it. Alcohol consumed me, spurring me to action. I impulsively lit a fire in the fireplace and threw our wedding album into the flames. In a rage, I gathered a handful of her underwear one by one and threw them into the flames, mesmerized by the sight of each item igniting. After that I settled down in Ed that he once ran into her at the mall, and then everything went on the rise. It was an impulsive mistake which he deeply regrets. Listening to him, I felt that he wanted to say something else, and I waited patiently. It became clear that both of them never wanted Peg and me to find out about this. They couldn't resist their attraction, and it continued despite their guilt. At the same moment, a decision matured in me. I knew exactly what to do in this situation. I decided that I never wanted to catch his inu, but we have to overcome it. Will you let me? And I asked Sherry's father. My stupid daughter is in the kitchen, sitting down at the kitchen table. I didn't know what to say. Sherry looked pale, her eyes swollen from crying. Her mother stood silently beside her, and her father drank water from a glass in small sips, taking a deep breath. I finally spoke, outlining my decision. Here's what I've decided, I began, and Sherry nodded, her expression reflecting the pain I'd felt the day before. I'm going to file FOY. Love me, you should do your best to get me back. Only in this case I will consider that I have something with you. Sherry nodded, her lips pressed tightly together as if she was pondering the weight of my words. Tom was no longer considered my friend. During the divorce, I hardly spoke to Sherry. We sold our apartment and Sherry went to live with her parents. While I was looking for an apartment, I saw her father only a few times, and these conversations were casual and superficial. I didn't ask about Sheila's. I saw that she was waiting in a booth, putting a glass of water in front of her. I sat down and joined her. Our eyes met, and I nodded her greeting. I decided not to waste words, getting straight to the point. Will we discuss this further? Is there anything you want to say or suggest? I asked, genuinely interested in her intentions. I want to give this a chance, I added, emphasizing my desire to move forward. Curious about her own desires, I asked, what do you want? Leaving no room for ambiguity. I felt that this message, there were endless calls from Sherry, but I didn't want to talk to her or see her anymore. I also made a serious decision to buy a house away from Sherry and Tom, to forget the past once and for all. 7 months have passed since I blocked Sherry and all managers. I bought a small house and try not to remember the past with Sherry. My work in sports helped me in this. I have a girlfriend with whom we see on weekends from work and have a great time together, but I don't want anything seriousy. In the acclaimed blockbuster film, it was an incredible event. Although she only uttered 2 phrases, it felt like a monumental leap towards the realization of her dream. She said that the main role in this fantastic chance is played by a customer from the Hooters restaurant, having promised her a role and even booked a ticket to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I undoubtedly believed in the opportunity that it opened up. Despite my naivety, I refrained from asking how she managed to get such a one-go on this amazing journey using part of her earnings from a movie role. We managed to rent a modest apartment in Los Angeles. Full of hope and anticipation, we were entering a new chapter of our lives. Days turned into months, and my girlfriend had the difficult task of finding meaningful movie roles in this bustling city. Every morning she got up early and went to auditions in the hope of a long-awaited breakthrough. Unfortunately, she came across mostly minor roles in advertising local businesses. For success in the show business industry seemed to be drifting away, absorbed by the demands of our hectic life. With each passing day, the dreams seemed to be moving further away from us. The cruel nature of the film and entertainment industry has severely undermined the spirit of my girlfriend, and I could only watch helplessly as she faces the bitter reality that achieving success in Hollywood is far from the easy dream that we once realized. Over time, her excessive spending completely devastated our 5 years. She often came home late at night. She claimed that she earns money by visiting clubs and taking VIP seats. She constantly said that her participation in the project was reduced to gatherings in the VIP section. In other cases, she explained that some producers prefer to audition and shoot scenes at night. But as her nocturnal adventures became more frequent, a sense of anxiety settled in me. I began to be overwhelmed by thoughts about her safety and the company in which she is. She tried to disbelieve. In the end, she came to the club where a long queue formed. To my surprise, the club's promoter granted my girlfriend and her friends special privileges, allowing them to pass through a long queue and quickly enter the premises of the institution. Deciding to get to the bottom of the truth, I was forced to generously bribe a bouncer to secure my entrance. Entering the club, I scanned the crowd carefully, desperately looking for her presence. Finally, I saw her in the VIP section talking Animatedly and enjoying Lem, I made sure that she ate right, believing that her behavior was caused by stress. But one day when I woke up at night, I saw that she was not in our bed. Puzzled by this, I followed the noise coming from the bathroom. Driven by a sense of anxiety, to my horror, I saw that my girlfriend was using a prohibited substance in the bathroom. I came across a handful of illegal substances, which caught my girlfriend by surprise. In a panic, she tried to hastily hide everything, but eventually scattered it on the inscription pilot, and I was overwhelmed with excitement and anticipation. Without hesitation, I inserted it into the DVD player, wanting to know its contents, expecting it to be a surprise related to me, or maybe a recording of a screen test she attended. I was in complete shock and anger at the unexpected truth that unfolded on the screen. The footage showed that my girlfriend was engaged in intimate activity with a man. It was a sight I couldn't imagine. Flushed with emotions, I burst into the bathroom apartment, finding shelter with a friend. Having decided to rebuild my life, I cut off all contacts with my ex-girlfriend and switched my attention to a career as a fitness trainer and a multi-level marketer. By doing the latter, I managed to accumulate a significant amount of money, but my hopes were dashed when it turned out that the company was a pyramid scheme and was subsequently closed by the authorities. Without thinking twice, I decided to invest my savings in opening a gym, but the exorbitant developing positively. But then an unexpected and terrifying news reached me. My ex-girlfriend died when she was with a client and consumed too much of a prohibited substance. The moment I received this heartbreaking information, goosebumps ran down my spine, and I hurriedly headed home. Unable to contain my emotions, I sat on the floor in the shower, overcome by uncontrollable grief and tears. To this day, I still feel guilty, and I never stop wondering if I could have done something else